have confidence in Anthony Albanese's leadership in terms of his ability to carry the party for the next election with a climate change policy?
Yeah, look, I do have confidence in Anthony Albanese's leadership, and of course, I didn't say this first because you might have thought I was avoiding the question. We've been mates for a very long time. We are the last two remaining members of the class of '96. I first encountered Albo at the Balmain Town Hall at a Young Labor conference in, I think, 1985. He said at the caucus that I acknowledge that we've had a few dust-ups in our time, not just recently, by the way, and he told the caucus we might have a beer tonight for each dust-up, and I said we're going to be in pretty bad shape tomorrow. But I also told the caucus I believe in robust debate in the party. I think a vibrant party is one that has a contest of ideas, not just internally and externally. There's a break on that, of course. There's a limit to how much you can blue with one another outside the party room. But I think that, and I made the point earlier, I think that we do have a contest of ideas, and I think we do all represent very different electorates, and we need to be a voice for each of those electorates.
You say that you want...
I'll go to Andrew, then I'll go to you, Catherine.
Mr. Fitzgibbon, you say that you want the Labor Party to reflect its traditional base, the blue-collar worker. If that's the case, don't you have most influence? Wouldn't you have most influence inside shadow cabinet? And if your decision is not, is it because the culture of the Labor Party internally and the discipline it requires of ministers inside, front benches at least, needs to change?
Well, I remind you that I made this decision 18 months ago, and I've stuck to my plan. But I am concerned that we have a challenging culture. We have to speak to and be a voice for all those who we seek to represent, whether they be in Surrey Hills or Rockhampton. And that's a difficult balance. But we've been juggling it for some time, and the Hawke and Keating governments, it might not have been as pronounced then, but they juggled it pretty well. I think it can be done, but I think the Labor Party has been spending too much time in recent years talking about issues like climate change, which is a very important issue, and not enough time talking about the needs of our traditional base. No, I'll go to Catherine and I'll go to you guys.
Thank you. You said a minute ago that you've departing the shadow cabinet today on your own timing. You decided this 18 months ago, but obviously there's been a head of steam building up in the party, particularly over the last couple of weeks, with people very, very angry about your front running of this issue. What has resulted in you making this decision today? Was there a debate at shadow cabinet about it? Were you asked to go? Was it entirely your own decision? And also, just following up Phil's question, just to be absolutely precise, will you support Anthony Albanese leading Labor to the next federal election? Because often movements like this one precipitate leadership crises. So I'm just asking you to be very clear.
And I have no history either, do I, Catherine?
Well, I'm just pointing it out.
Look, Anthony Albanese has my support. He'll lead us to the next election. I set myself a timetable 18 months ago, and I was determined to stick with it.
But why today, Joel? Why now? Why today? Catherine makes a good point. There has been a head of steam.
If this is the wrong day, when is the right day? I mean, Christmas is coming on. I wanted both the New South Wales right and the leader to have sufficient space to organise and fill the vacancy, and to me it seemed like a pretty fair time. No, I'll go to Greg and I'll come back to you.
Will you run for Hunter at the next election? And secondly, climate change, you've been publicly critical of some left faction colleagues, including Mark Butler. Do you have confidence in him retaining the climate change portfolio, or is it time for it to go to someone else?
Well, I'll run for Hunter at the next election, and going to the backbench now will give me more time to concentrate on my electorate. I mean, every election campaign I'm doing the work of a shadow minister and the work of a local candidate, and next time I expect to have the luxury of being a local candidate only. And I think, while I've always worked the electorate hard and always campaigned hard in the electorate, that will make the job of winning back the confidence of my electorate a little easier. Look, the leader has a reshuffle opportunity now, of course, and where he allocates the portfolios is a matter for him. I'll only make this point. The Labor Party, since the 2013 election, has had, I suppose, at least two energy policies and two climate change policies. And I note that both of them have been rejected by the Australian people. The Labor Party's had at least 6 climate change / energy policies since the 2006 election. Only one of them was ever adopted by a Labor government. And of course, that policy, having been legislated, was repealed by Tony Abbott. So the conclusion you can draw from that is that after 14 years of trying, the Labor Party has made not one contribution to the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions in this country. So if you want to act on climate change, the first step is to become the government. And to become the government, you need to have a climate change and energy policy that can be embraced by a majority of the Australian people. That is something we have failed to do for the last 7 or 8 years. I'm going to Trudy, and then I'll come back to you. And I'll go to you, Chris. You're losing too much weight now. I reckon you can have a beer.